Hello friends, in this video I'm comparing the Apple iPhone SE 2020 version with the LG K92 5G. Let's go ahead and compare these phones and their specs and see what they offer and what our conclusions are. Let's take a look. So from a carrier perspective, the data on these devices are pretty different and it's apparent in the names. The iPhone SE is a 4G LTE device from 2020, while the LG K92 5G is a 5G device, obviously, and also came out in 2020. Both of these are pretty much budget devices. The iPhone SE is the cheapest iPhone you can get from Apple, while the LG K92 5G is the cheapest 5G phone offered from LG. Both of these offer good value, but let's take a look even deeper. So let's talk about the size of these devices. The iPhone SE is going to be the smaller device of the two. It has around the 5.5 inch tall size, while the K92 comes in at 6.5 inches tall. For the width, the iPhone is around 2.6 inches wide, while the K92 is 3 inches wide. iPhone SE is 0.3 inches thick. The K92 comes in at 0.33 inches thick. So overall specs, the K92 is gonna be bigger. For the weight is a similar story. The iPhone SE is gonna come in at 148 grams, which is 5.22 ounces, which weighs way less than the K92, which comes in at 202 grams or 7.13 ounces. Materials are going to be different as well. They both rock a glass front, but the iPhone has a glass back and an aluminum frame, while the K92 is an overall plastic device. When it comes to the display size, they are very different as well. The iPhone SE has a 4.7 inch LCD display, and the K92 comes in at 6.7 inch LCD display. The iPhone has 65% screen to body ratio. K92 has 84% screen to body ratio. So you're getting way more screen real estate overall on the K92. For the resolution on these devices, the iPhone has 750 by 1334 pixels. The K92 has 1080 by 2400 full HD resolution pixels, and it has PPI of 393. For the software, the iPhone obviously is going to run iOS, and this one is running iOS 13 when it launched, and it's upgradable for about 5 years. The K92 is running Android 10 with LG skin on top, and it's probably not going to get upgraded as opposed to the iPhone, which gets around 5 years of updates. But either way, these phones are going to run fine on their respective operating systems. When it comes to the chipset, the iPhone is running the Apple A13 Bionic chip, while the LG K92 has the Qualcomm Snapdragon 690 5G. Both of these phones' respective chipsets are going to be perfect for their hardware and the type of software that they have and the type of apps that people are going to run on these phones. So basically, you're not going to have any problems on these phones if you're not a crazy power user. When it comes to internal storage, there's a very different story on these devices. The iPhone SE starts off at 64 gigs, while the K92 doubles that at 128 gigabytes. Apart from that, you are going to get a micro SD card slot on the K92. So you're going to have tons of options for adding storage on the K92. So you cannot say the same about the iPhone. Once you get that 64 gigs of storage, you cannot upgrade unless you buy it with 128 or 256 gig option, but you have to buy that right away and it's more expensive. So a big up to the K92. When it comes to RAM, the iPhone is running 3 gigs of RAM, while the K92 doubles that to 6 gigs of RAM. But don't let that fool you too much, because iOS runs RAM very efficiently, but 6 gigs of RAM on the K92 is no slouch. Basically, you're not gonna have any problems running several apps unless you're running a billion apps But I think the average user for both of these phones should have no problem running several apps at once. So let's compare the cameras on these devices, a very popular subject in a smartphone. The iPhone SE comes with a single 12 megapixel camera on the back, but the K92 has several cameras. It has a 64 megapixel main camera, 5 megapixel ultra wide, 2 megapixel macro, and 2 megapixel depth. So it has 4 total cameras, dwarfing that of the iPhone SE. But do not let that fool you. The iPhone has a wonderful video camera, a wonderful regular camera. Basically, you're gonna get good videos, good pictures on the iPhone. And the K92, with all those cameras in there, and if you have the right lighting condition, is definitely gonna take some good pictures and good videos as well. Pair that up with a tripod or a gimbal, and you get very crispy videos on either of these devices. Both of these phones, thankfully, have 4K video on the back, although most people probably won't take advantage of that, but it's a very nice feature to have. Flip the phone around to the front, and the selfie camera on the iPhone SE is a 7 megapixel shooter, while the K92 has a selfie camera shooter of 16 megapixels. Both of these video offer 1080p video on the front camera, which should be very good for most people and their selfie pics and videos. One big difference in these phones is that the K92 has a headphone jack. Yes, it does, but there is no headphone jack on the iPhone. So if you are still one of those holdouts that do not have use for wireless earbuds, then the K92 will have you covered if you want to connect physical headphones, if you want to connect your car via an aux cord, or you want to plug in a mic. It'll be way easier on the K92 than it is with an iPhone that you have to use dongles. When it comes to Bluetooth, the iPhone has 5.0 Bluetooth and there's 5.1 Bluetooth on the K92. And this is how you're going to connect your Bluetooth headphones and your smartwatch, just to name a few devices, and you should be good on either of these phones Bluetooth. Both of these phones offer NFC that is mostly served through Apple Pay on the iPhone and regular NFC Google Pay on LG. The iPhone obviously offers charging through a Lightning port, and the USB-C is on the LG K92, which is a little bit more versatile. You can charge laptops, MacBooks, Chromebooks, PCs, other tablets, iPads, other phones, a lot of other devices with the USB Type-C. But if you have a lot of other iOS devices, then the Lightning port will serve you well. For unlocking these devices, they offer fingerprint readers, but in different locations. The iPhone has it on the bottom on the front, while the K92 offers it as a side fingerprint reader on the power button. Both of these devices have very different sizes and batteries. The iPhone SE has a very small 1821 milliamp battery, while the K92 has a beefy 4000 milliamp battery by comparison. Yes, the iPhone is going to need a lot of recharging. The K92 should last you all day. The iPhone definitely will not last you all day, but luckily both of these devices offer some type of fast charging. The iPhone advertises fast charging at 18 watts, and you can get 50% in 30 minutes. And there's quick charge on the K92 if you manage to drain that 4000 milliamp battery. The iPhone also offers Qi wireless charging. So when it comes to the pricing on these devices, they're all over the map, but generally these are budget-minded phones in the most general sense. The iPhone can be had for free or $50 on prepaid at the time of this video at certain places. The K92 is available for like $100 if you get it on Metro or Cricket. So really, these are some good pricing on these phones. Apple iPhone SE is the cheapest iPhone you could get, and the LG K92 is the cheapest 5G phone you could get. The big differences between these devices is obviously one has 5G, the other one has a more old school look, but it runs iOS. So depending on what kind of things are most important to you, you could at least agree that both of these devices are going to run all the apps you could possibly need without any hiccups. Unless you're taking heavy video editing, taking lots of video, or running really intensive games. Other than that, these phones should serve both people very well and make them very happy. So on that note, thanks for watching. See you in the next one. Peace.